EuroBike and Interbike are the two biggest dealer trade shows in the bike industry. I've attended Interbike for many, many years, but I'd never been to EuroBike, or even to Europe for that matter, until last week. Justin and I were on the same travel schedule.
Where are you headed?
Good question. JFK, and then we're going to go on over to Switzerland. EuroBike!
Minneapolis to JFK, JFK to Zurich. The sun was rising as we approached Zurich, and it was incredibly beautiful. Tim was finishing his vacation in Europe, so he picked us up at the airport, and we headed for Germany.
Like the pirate way.
So we're going into Germany, and we're stopped at the border. And Tim is trying to not let them take away some of our bicycle parts.
We are busted.
Yeah, busted.
We boarded a ferry and crossed Lake Constance to Friedrichshafen, where we had lunch.
Curry sandwich.
Meat sandwich.
I got a meat sandwich too.
Tomato mozzarella.
And then headed to the show to set up our booth. We also popped over to the dirt demo event, though jet lag was setting in a bit and heads were definitely starting to drop. There were a lot of contraptions, e-bikes, and gear bikes being ridden out there, and we managed to track down some beer.
EuroBike. Cheers.
Not the biggest beers, but our first beers.
It is our first, and very cold.
We were staying in the town of Langenarten, about 20 kilometers from the show hall, so we headed there to assemble our bikes and get dinner. In the morning, after a breakfast of bread, meat, and cheese, we headed to the show. We rode past apple, pear, and plum orchards, through small towns, and past large fields of hop vines.
Do you know the German purity law for beer? You know what it is?
4 ingredients.
3 ingredients. Water, barley, hops.
And yeast is the 4th.
When they wrote the law, they didn't know what yeast was, right? So it was 3 ingredients in the initial law, and they just thought if they mixed those things together, set it out, beer happened.
Yeah.
Until scientists learned about what yeast was.
And that's the 4th.
That is the 4th, but the real law, 3 ingredients.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
A final bit of riding took us through a patch of woods where we hit one small patch of single track. Our daily transportation also served as part of our booth display. EuroBike is massive and takes place in 13 different show halls. Most of them are former Zeppelin hangars with really beautiful wood ceilings. As the show began, the booths and aisles filled with people and conversations in a lot of different languages.
Ik ben Erik Becker van Velocien.
Thank you, welcome. This is mine assorted.
我来自台湾，很开心在。
Well, you know, here we are in Euroland. It's Salsa here. EuroBike. Dude, I already had to change my underwear once. Not really, but Rob, roosting on your underwear, roosting out, having a good show. Checking out the fat bikes, checking out all the cool stuff. It's a good live. It's a good way to make a living.
At day's end, good German beer seemed to magically appear. Booth parties began with cycling luminaries and legends mixing with those less celebrated. That's Ernesto Colnago over there. Oh, and bike journalists from around the world started to display their beer bottle opening prowess. On the way home, we rode by Lake Constance in the evening light. Riding one-handed while shooting video, I sampled the German sand.
Yeah, I'm riding one-handed.
And then we grabbed an outdoor table for dinner. The next day, we got up and did it all again. And then, all too quickly, it was time to pack up the bikes. A rainy 6 a.m. walk for the first of 3 train rides to Zurich, a short flight to Amsterdam, and then a longer one to Minneapolis. After that, a shuttle to the park and ride, and a short drive home. My 3 days in Germany were far too short, especially with the daylight hours consumed in the show hall. For me, the best parts of the trip were the evening meals, trying new foods, and getting acquainted with some German folks. And of course, the rides to and from the show each day were amazing. Those bike rides let me experience things I wouldn't have otherwise, to take in the sights, sounds, and smells, and watch a bit of regular German life. I look forward to my next trip there, hopefully for a bit longer, to see more of their wonderful country.